frustrating sometimes that Washington, D.C., you know it, it's a Democratic town. Not just the Democrats in Congress, but the think tanks, the academics. There's some days when I walk to my office in the Capitol and I give myself a pep talk and I say, today, Kennedy, you're going to follow Jesus. But by 10 o'clock, I want to follow Jesus still, but I want to slap somebody.
Hard to disagree with Senator Kennedy, isn't it? Yes, it is. And welcome to Christmas Eve. It is the Chris Plant Show, Christmas Eve. Mike Opelka in once again from my buddy Chris on his holiday break. Happy to be here, thrilled to be here, and thank you for being here. So much to try and get to before we get to last-minute shopping time. Yeah, today is last-minute shopping day, in case you didn't know it. Last-minute shopping day. Are you one of those? I might have a couple of things yet to acquire, and it's not food or alcohol. So a little last-minute shopping. And it's also National Eggnog Day, but I really don't know anyone who drinks eggnog outside of doing it on a dare. So many things I want to try and break down today and share with you and get your opinion on some of these topics as well. So you're always welcome at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. One of the things that I monitor when I look at when we discuss politics is the outcome of the policies of the people in charge, because that's really kind of how I gauge whether or not the people at the helm are doing what we expect them to do. What is the economic impact of their policies, not just on the country, but let's face it, on my own personal finances? How am I doing? How are you doing? How are my friends doing? Can they afford to pay their bills and maybe a little bit more this Christmas? We're hearing spending is up, which is good. And we're also hearing that the cost of things that we need in our lives, like gasoline, is down, way down. Other things, maybe not so much. But one of the things I was looking at in an effort to try and figure out how well or how badly we're doing is the price of a couple of important things in our world. One of those, as I said, gasoline, but that breaks down to oil, right? What is the price of a barrel of oil? Because that means if oil is low, and we worry when it gets up near $100 a barrel, and it had been hovering around $70, $80 a barrel during the Biden administration. And then we look today, I was looking yesterday, West Texas crude, as they call it, about $58, $59 a barrel. And then the really good stuff, Brent crude, $62 a barrel. So that means gas should be cheaper than it was. Yeah, and it is. And then I thought, well, how much is metals, price of precious metals, like an ounce of silver, for example? An ounce of silver yesterday, spot market trading, $72 an ounce. An ounce of, think about that. A barrel of oil is cheaper. A barrel of Brent crude oil is cheaper than an ounce of silver. And silver, they say precious metals, you get them and you keep them for a hedge against inflation. If, money, paper money gets to be worth less, which it does seem to be doing. But it's interesting to me to see that the price of silver and gold, which, we all have seen where gold has gone. Gold is up over 25%, I think, year over year. Way up there in the $4,000 and $5,000 range. I have to look that up and see it. But the price of an ounce of silver is less than an ounce or than a barrel of oil. And oil is more tied to our consumer prices than silver is. So that's kind of an interesting issue. I'm looking at this as we see the price. And why is oil dropping? Because the people in charge have decided Well, we need to open up the drilling all over this country. And so that's a really good thing, isn't it? It sure seems like it. So I'm looking at our world today under the Trump administration and thinking, will there be a great 2026? Will there be, and for the last couple days of the year, will there be what they call a Santa Claus rally on Wall Street? I hope so. I certainly hope so. I like what I'm seeing. And then it comes to quality of life stuff, and I look at the safety in America, and I see the narco-terror boats that are carrying drugs on the water, trying to get them to America. And I know this administration's blowing them up, and the Democrats would rather we don't do that. And I think a huge portion of our society is happy that drug boats are being exploded, and those drugs aren't coming into the country and destroying our communities, destroying families. So that's another point in the positive side of things. So I'm kind of happy about that. But we'll see where this goes. We'll keep an eye on it. Throughout the show today, I have a couple of questions for you. Is there a naughty and nice list that you have in terms of politicians? Is there somebody you want to put on the naughty list or on the nice list? And then I was watching CNN last night, as I do, to keep an eye on those guys. Always try and keep an eye on what the other side is doing. And they were having a discussion on CNN that was not so much politics, but I thought it would make an interesting conversation throughout the show today, especially as we are here on Christmas Eve. It was a non-political argument, quite rare, but it was about Christmas songs.
What is the most overplayed Christmas song for you?
Played Christmas songs till you cannot overplay Christmas songs.
The vast majority.
Well, the vast majority.
I think we just have to say thank you, President Trump. It's okay to say Merry Christmas again.
Oh,
Yes.
my gosh.
Nina, thank you for acknowledging it.
Why we got to thank President Donald J. Trump for
I like the way Scott Jennings is capable of stirring it up, even when it's not a political question, just because he knows he can jerk their chains and get them all twisted around. Nina was all upset about it. But Scott Jennings about to drop his least favorite Christmas song, the one that needs to go away.
We can thank the President for bringing back
Oh,
Merry
my Lord.
But the most overplayed Christmas song is actually this abomination from Paul McCartney called Wonderful
oh my gosh,
Christmas
no,
Time.
Scott. That is a great song.
Whatever. I don't even know what instrument that is. I
Scott,
can sort
that's
of do
actually
it.
a great song.
It's the worst. The literal worst, most overplayed song with an instrument that no one can name. I don't know what that is.
That is what makes
It's
it
terrible.
so great. That's
And
what
Paul
makes it
McCartney, I think he hadn't made a single in like a decade before he put that out, and he should have left it on the shelf. Sorry.
Most important.
So most overplayed Christmas song at Scott Jennings' head, Wonderful Christmas Time. I have a short list of overplayed Christmas songs I would like to be banished, and I'm just curious. I know it's kind of light and fluffy. We do have some pretty heavy political topics to get to today, but it is Christmas Eve, and we should have some fun. So I am curious as to you, the Chris Plant audience, as to what you see as the most overplayed Christmas song that you wouldn't miss. I know a lot of people will tell you one that you may hear every single time you walk into a store. And I in a parallel universe, someone speculated Mariah Carey is Christmas shopping and hearing me sing All I Want for Christmas Is You. It might be Mariah Carey's song. That might be the most overplayed Christmas song of all time. It might be. It may be a novelty song, but you're free to share your thoughts on it as well. 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. We do have just a host of crazy audio clips to share with you. I will tell you, there is one song that I don't think we should put on the Ban It Forever Christmas song list because it doesn't get played enough. And it also features the current president of the United States. This was a song I did not know about until our own Michael Piercy shared it with me. It's from 2005. And I'm not going to tell you who the singer is yet. Donald Trump makes an appearance, but do you know the singer in this 2005 classic.
Then one foggy Christmas Eve, the Trumpster came to say,
You know, Rudolph, I've been on a worldwide search, and I hear your qualifications are just right to guide my sleigh tonight.
then how the reindeer loved him.
I hope you would recognize Regis Philbin. He's gone now, but Regis will live on forever with his classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Who knew Regis had a Christmas song with Trump? Amazing. Go back to 2005. It was still 10 years before President Trump announced he was going to run. So quite prescient of Regis to do that. But I'm just curious, if you have a Christmas song you would like to have banned forever and ever and ever, the most overplayed Christmas song, maybe you want to nominate it. Someone sent me a text and said, please don't forget Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be doing Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey. No, thank you. No, thank you. We won't be playing that. Even though when I worked in New York radio, you heard it about every half hour. It seemed just one of those things. But as I said, we have a busy day today. We have elected officials, Democrats, of course, who can't believe that the police, A, don't recognize them when they're pulled over under suspicion of driving while under the influence. We have elected officials in places like Boston, Massachusetts, who believe that the people will buy into their claim that the city of Boston would be nothing without the contributions of the Somali community. I just want to go back and remember the Boston Tea Party and try and think how many Somalis were part of the ragtag group of commandos throwing tea into Boston Harbor. Yeah, we'll share the clip with you. And Kamala Harris has been rumored to be looking around, poking around, and seeing what her chances are to be the nominee for her party in 2028. She is, after all, since she was the candidate, she is considered to be the titular head of the Democrat Party. There were many Democrats who would argue against that. But is Kamala the choice, or is there another career choice? Yesterday, a tape appeared. A video appeared. You can't say tape anymore because nobody uses tape. But a video appeared that seems to show Kamala Harris may be pursuing yet a different angle in going forward, maybe a non-political angle. And is this an angle that you think she'd be good for? I'll share that with you as well, as well as a host of other clips of Democrats saying the darndest things. Since, it is the lead into Christmas, we have to remember some of the dumbest things Democrats said, and maybe in the last 24 hours. So join the conversation today, 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. You got a naughty and nice list when it comes to politicians. You have a song that you want to say is the most overplayed Christmas song. It's always welcome here. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Merry Christmas. Christmas Eve. Mike Opelka sitting in for my friend Chris Plant with a lot to try and get to. I know it's a short day for a lot of people. I think the stock market closes after half a day today. But they're looking pretty happy over there. I checked out the business channels this morning. Everybody seems to be pretty happy, which is good. That's good because that means usually our economy's doing okay. I mentioned Somali. The Somali people in Somalia. And we know what's going on in Minnesota. We know there's a problem in Minnesota. How big is the problem? I don't think we fully understand it yet. And we will eventually, because now I believe the Trump administration's DOJ is going to dive into I almost said the state of Somalia, the state of Minnesota, and see just where is all this money going. But not to be outdone, there are other states that apparently have populations of Somalis who came to this country claiming to be refugees, and we took really good care of them. apparently, and we showed them that they could pretty much do whatever they want and not assimilate. No, they could bring their tribal culture, which is full of all kinds of tribal corruption and abuse of the system, and come here. Maine has a problem, we hear. And now Boston is being put into the spotlight. And Mayor Wu of Boston made a statement about the Somali community that I think a lot of Bostonians are going to take issue with the mayor.
You cannot talk about any achievement that the city of Boston has had in safety, jobs, and economic development, in education, without talking about the Somali community.
Wait, what? I have never heard this. I am a regular visitor to Boston for many reasons. Never have I heard the words Somali community mentioned in Boston or by anyone in Boston that I know about the city of Boston.
That has lifted our city up. We are proud and we are grateful for our Somali community and for our Somali American neighbors.
Our Somali American neighbors. I don't know if they're going to let you hyphenate them, because I think we've never heard Somali American neighbors. But go ahead, Mayor. This is a very woke Democrat mayor, Mayor Wu of Boston.
Neighbors, Boston and the country are clear that hate has no place in our society. We will.
Oh, there's the hate has no place here. Hate has no home here. It's not about hate. It's about what's right. Stop saying hate has no home here when someone pulls back the curtain and exposes a problem. Crime could be considered hate. If someone is stealing from me, that's hateful, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion.
We will use every attack to actually strengthen and expand the services available.
Wait, you're going to... So if someone says, hey, what's going on with the Somali community? Do we have waste, fraud, and abuse in that community? You are then going to say, we need to give them more? Shouldn't the reaction be, let's check it out? Every tip that comes in should be investigated.
To empower and work alongside our community members who are already doing so much good in the world and setting an example for the rest of the country.
So they're setting an example for the rest of the country. This is laughable. And this is one of the reasons why I think, is there really going to be a wipeout in the midterms? I find that hard to believe. If these leaders, and using the Chris Plant approved air quotes with my fingers, if they're going to push this on us, how can they get reelected? We'll talk about that. The phones are open. Everything's on the table. It's Opelka in for Chris Plant on the Chris Plant Show. It is the Christmas Eve edition of the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. Thanks for being here. So much to get to today, including a review of the Festivus release yesterday from Rand Paul of the waste, fraud, and abuse. It's the annual list of grievances out of Rand Paul's office, and some of them appear to be on there annually, which I was hoping Doge would have gotten rid of them. But before we get to that, let's talk to Trey in Gainesville, Virginia. Hello, Trey. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Mike. This is a pleasure talking to you. I changed my name so I don't get myself in trouble because I work for the federal government. But the bottom line is I don't understand why these people in Fulton County in Georgia are not being tried for treason and dealt with. I mean, there's no reason why. Go ahead, sir.
You're talking about the news that broke this week that in the 2020 election, there were hundreds of thousands of maybe unverified votes or votes that weren't properly certified, etc., something like that?
Yes, sir. 315,000 votes, and all he needed was 11,000 votes. And when he was originally talking to the governor there, that's President Trump during 45, he clearly stated, hey, I only need 11,000 votes. What's going on? And then you got to look at all these other states that done improper election activity. And I'll just say this to be very simple. It's very simple to fix. You have the military run it through the National Guard, and every citizen has to have a passport to vote. Done. There's no more discussions about it, and you can vote early, but you have to show ID, and you have to validate that you're a U.S. citizen. So I'm going to tell you right now, they need to look at New Jersey, and they need to look at Virginia, because the elections are being questioned there, and I think it's all across the states. I think they need to look into all of this because it's absolute treason, and they should be charged with a crime and dealt with.
Yeah, well, one of the suggestions, I think it was made late yesterday on the show when we talked about how do you fix Illinois, because Illinois is a mess as well, and I wouldn't leave Pennsylvania out of that either. And I'm one of the people who would like us to say, okay, we have a problem with voter registration and the verification, so we're just going to start over. Everybody has to register to vote. Everybody. And you know there will be people marching in the streets, and it's only because they're supporting voter faking of votes, which would be amazing. But if we started over, what would be the problem? I know you're on board. I'm on board with it, Trey. But is there any problem with saying, hey, every 10 years, just like we do a census, we should do a re-registration of every voter in this country? What would be wrong with that?
Well, from the eyes of the Democrats or the left or the liberal or the libtards or however we want to call them, they don't want our country to survive. Charlie Kirk said it best. They want hate in the streets, and it's like a tick. They support terrorists, they support illegals, they support criminals, and they support killers. They do not care, and all they care is about cheating. And to me, it just shows the world that we can be pushed over. And finally, we have a president that's in office. And I'll just say this. We know Captain Obvious and who he is in the previous administration. He wasn't in charge. And so now they're looking at all of those things. And I'm going to say this. The military needs to run their operation, and they need to hold everyone accountable. And anyone that's committed treason, they need to be dealt with. And I know all the conspiracy theories in the world, but this is the key point to all of us. Our fundamental of the United States Constitution defend our rights against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And those folks that have been involved in that need to be dealt with. Either they're being dealt with behind closed doors and no one knows about it through sealed indictments, or they're being dealt with in the public. And I think what's happening right now is fundamentally a lot of stuff's being done behind the scenes, like the whole thing with January 6th and all that. All that stuff would have not happened if the elections had integrity. So I know you have other people to talk to. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there, and to all my Patriot brothers out there and sisters, we see it, we're all aware, and we appreciate you, sir, for being there, on the front lines of comms to make sure everyone understands what's going on the ground.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Trey. Be careful out there. Have a Merry Christmas to you and yours. I try to bring the news and the facts forward. And this story out of Fulton County, Georgia, that Trey is talking about, the 315,000 votes that really weren't properly registered or properly accounted for, that, if this had gone the other way, you can damn sure bet that the Democrats would be screaming this was election fraud. Had this gone the other way, if this were 315,000 votes that went to Donald Trump, the left would be screaming and suing till the end of the day. But the other weird part of this is Raffensperger out of Fulton County says a clerical error does not nullify votes. I'm sorry, if the clerical error means that you're supposed to be signing in and checking off all of these voters as they come in, then they're not properly being handled. So no, that's not right. And I would like to see a complete re-registering of every voter in this country. Now, a lot of people will scream, you can't do that. Really? Why not? Why not? Just tell me why not. They're the same people who tell you that it's too difficult for people of color to get an ID to vote, which is, of course, one of the most racist things anyone could say, but they don't think it's racist. So it's a really interesting twist. And I wonder where we stand on that second census. The president has said he would like to have another a mid-decade U.S. census taken. And I'm just saying, while you're doing that, while you're counting everybody who's here, let's make sure we register everyone who is a citizen to vote, who is eligible to vote. And let's stop registering voters at cemeteries. It's not a good look, people. It's not a good look at all. And again, 315,000, which is well beyond whatever the 11,000 plus that President Trump was accused of demanding that they find in Georgia. Well, they could have found almost 30 times that. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. You're welcome to be a part of it. I should have asked Trey about his Christmas song, but he had to get back to work, I guess. It's good. More good news in the economy. Initial jobless claims were expected to come in at 215,000. They didn't. They came in at under that, like 212,000. That's good. That's really good. So the economy, again, surprises us. Yesterday we had the GDP number, which was linked to elevated consumer spending, and the left is going to have to choke this one again and say it again, which will be fun to watch. We'll see how CNN is reporting on this, as they so often have the moment where they give the news and then there's almost a gasp, which is there. Also, I did talk about Kamala Harris. And where is Kamala Harris headed? What is the next move for the former vice president, failed presidential candidate? I'm thinking it might be out of politics altogether. I'm thinking there may be a left turn for Kamala Harris. And you're probably saying, oh, she's going to do a podcast or a talk show. Maybe MS-13 Now will hire her. I don't think so. I think it's a completely different direction. Listen to Kamala Harris. Maybe you can guess where she might be going.
The important piece of this, though, for anyone who is single, who wants to be in a relationship, is to be kind to yourself and choose to be with someone who is kind.
Be kind to yourself and choose to be with someone who is kind. Got it.
That's really important. You know, choose to be with someone who allows you to laugh at yourself and them. Choose to be with someone who, you know, you like going to the grocery store together, taking a walk together, including doing something fancy together. You know, I mean, and there are different phases in your life, and depending on what phase you're in. Maybe you're going to choose that you want to have that kind of Friday night relationship, or you want that Sunday morning relationship.
Well, wherever she's headed, it's obviously not going to be without the cackle. The cackle is there. So what is she doing? What is Kamala Harris doing? Is this some sort of new life coaching venture?
Sometimes they go together and sometimes they don't.
Sometimes you can get both, and sometimes they just is oil and water.
Yes.
So the Friday night relationship and the Sunday morning relationship, I guess she's talking about dating somebody and going out and partying, and or dating somebody who then you may go to church with them on Sunday morning. The Sunday morning relationship, maybe. I don't know. Kamala Harris, a life coach?
Yes.
Right? And that's okay. You know, you be in those phases where you are having fun.
Yes.
Be in those phases where you have a sense of, you know, I just want something more. But be honest with yourself about what you're in. And figure out whether what you're in is actually what you want, right?
So what you're in has to be what you want. I got it. I think this is where she's going, a life coach.
But the first step is to be honest about what you're in. And not try and make it something that it's not, because that usually doesn't work out so well.
I don't know who she's talking to. It's a young woman, a young black woman that Kamala Harris is talking to. Obviously, Kamala's promoting the book because when the camera focuses on the woman she's speaking to, you see the book, 107 Days. Her book is still being promoted I just think this is so bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, I say that to say don't be harsh in judging yourself if you're in one of those phases or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right? At least the cackle is there. I really think this is some sort of desperate attempt to humanize Kamala Harris. I don't fully understand her rationale behind putting this out. Because it appears that she is giving life coaching advice to a young person as if something a parent would do. Now, Kamala has not had a child, has not raised a child of her own. She and Dougie had the child that Doug had with his first wife under their tutelage. But I think that kid was fully formed by the time Kamala Harris showed up. But this just is another in the bizarre twists and turns and weird steps taken by the former vice president, the woman who thought she was going to be the president of the United States, but for every one of you who, thank God, voted for Donald Trump and spared us from the reality of a Kamala Harris presidency. Astounding. Life coaching. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's going to step into a series of life coaching adventures. I don't think they do those kind of shows on the Lifetime Network anymore. And I don't think there's a talk show that she could host, because I think that just that little minute and 30 seconds would wear thin pretty quickly. Just saying. But we're keeping an eye on Kamala, keeping a very close eye on Kamala Harris. Very, very bizarre stuff. Other stories I am watching. I don't know if you've been to Rome and seen the Trevi Fountain. This is kind of weird. There is a charge that is going to be levied on foreigners who visit Rome and want to see the Trevi Fountain. I'll explain. There's also been a new series of charges against the actor, comedian, a guy who spoke at Turning Point last week, Russell Brand. Not looking good for him. And I have some other bizarre stories of food recalls. Just as if you're getting ready to go and have a little holiday meal, you want to pay attention, because sausage, shrimp, and some other products might be to be avoided for the holiday. But you're also welcome to join the conversation. 888-630-9625 is the number. 888-630-9625. Updates on the latest Epstein file dump and what the government screwed up in terms of redactions. Did you know you can see what's behind the black lines? This is not good. I'll share it with you. It's Opelka in for Plant on the Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas Eve. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. Before the break, I was just talking briefly about the fact that the Italians have decided anybody who's not Italian and anyone who is over the age of 5 that wants to gaze upon the Trevi Fountain, you now have to pay $2.35, €2, but $2.35 American. And I thought, of all the noive, it's right out there in the open. But they say the maintenance has to be paid for. You know, the people throwing coins in the fountain, et cetera, et cetera. They get about 30,000 people a day just walking by and taking a look, taking a picture. But if you don't want to pony up for that, of course there are replicas. There's one in Vegas at Caesar's Palace, at the Forum Shops at Caesar's Palace, and it's outdoors, and it's almost an exact copy of the original Trevi Fountain, complete with Neptune right there. Oceanus in the shell-shaped chariot pulled by the seahorses, guided by Tritons. You know, it's right there. So you could go to Las Vegas and see it, or you could even go to Disney World over at Epcot. They kind of have a similar one, not quite as big, but you know, it's Disney. You're not going to get the exact replica, or the Italians would want to get paid. They want to get their beaks wet over it. So I understand what Italy's doing, but if you want to avoid having to pay $2.35 just to see Trevi Fountain. You can go to Vegas. You can go to Disney. They've got reasonable facsimiles thereof. The phones have been fun today already. 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. Mike is calling from Winchester, Virginia. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Michael, can you hear me?
I do, loud and clear. Sound great, sir.
Oh, hey, listen. I'm glad you got back to me. I'm just getting ready to drop stuff off at my sister's house. I'm doing the man thing, late minute stuff.
That's good. It's last minute shopper day.
Trey was talking about the elections in Georgia. I think it was a Chris Plant show, and I was walking my dog after all that debacle that happened, and a woman who was a registered Democrat from Florida spoke. She went to Georgia for the recount because she wanted to make sure things were up and above and everything was done correct. And she said she was appalled that there were mail-in ballots that didn't have a crease in them. And she said there was ballots that looked like they had been run through a Xerox machine. And she could not believe what she saw that day, even though the election went the way she wanted it. She literally thought there was a problem. And I don't know if anybody remembers that. There was also the truck driver, I think in Pennsylvania, who had the whole truckload of ballots, the Gaylords or whatever. And when he went to make his regular stop, they wouldn't unload him there. They sent him to an alternate place. He made them put it in writing. He didn't want to lose his job. And he never again after that saw his trailer that he had pulled regularly on his route daily. And yes. I think he testified in front of Congress even. And I'll go to my grave knowing that election was not correct. And I'm from Virginia, and I just hate what has happened here. I cannot believe that I'll be polite. It's Christmas Eve. Let's call them communists, got elected in my state. But anyway, thank you for keeping the truth on the air. Thank you, WMAL, and God bless America.
Well, Merry Christmas to you and yours, Mike, and you continue on doing your stunt Santa duties as you are out there in the last-minute ride. I will be not far behind you in about 2 hours. Thanks very much, Mike. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. You can join us, 888-630-9625 on The Chris Plant Show.